What's up, cheer fans? We are officially back for Season 3 of the League by Varsity All Star, and we are so excited to be back joining you every week from right here in the Varsity TV studio. I'm Amber Salas. I'm so excited to be back in action with you all this season, and I'm also super happy to introduce to you Millery Ingallina. She'll be joining us on the show this season. But Millery, welcome. We are so happy to have you here with us.
Thank you. I'm super excited and of course excited to be sharing the screen with you. All-Star fans, it is December. We know what that means. The All-Star season is in full swing. We're seeing these teams for the very first time. So with that, welcome back to the League by Varsity All Star weekly series. All right, what is happening this week in the League by Varsity All Star? We're getting back into the swing of things. We might need a little bit of a refresher. Amber, what do you got?
Yeah, so some of those key points that you might need a refresher on, just the biggest thing to keep in mind, this is a season-long points race where teams are truly making every moment count. So there's a couple ways to earn points. Of course, there's those regional races where you're broken up by where you are on that map. They're broken up by D1 and D2 based on your respective division, and that's incorporating your top 6-point values that you earn from competing at those Varsity All-Star events. There's also the total points race. That one is really fun to keep an eye on because teams are just broken up by D1 and D2. There's no limit on how many points you can earn, and there's no more of those divisions. There's no D1 junior, D2 co-ed. It's everyone all together. D1 or D2, that one's always fun to watch for sure.
Yep, and on top of that, we also have the League 6 conferences. We've got League 6 All-Girl and League 6 Co-Ed. These teams are always so fun to watch battle it out back and forth. And there's some big-time cash prizes for winning the League by Varsity All-Star. And I mean like dollar bill big cash prizes.
That's right. I think that's something that people forget too. These teams get rewarded big time for how they're performing in the league. Talking about that total points race, those teams who are in first place in both D1, D2, they're taking home $5,000 in cash, which is pretty awesome. And those top 3 region finishers are also taking home some cash prizes as well. Also the League 6, let's talk about that. That is big time.
Yes, on top of that, $50,000 will be awarded to the top 5 finishers of League 6 All-Girl and League 6 Co-Ed, all thanks to Varsity All-Star Fashion. So huge opportunity there. So there's some quick numbers for you. Amber, there's already teams well on their way to stacking up those league points.
Yeah, it still is early on in the season, but those points have started since those first events of the season got underway. But we're starting to get into some of those big ones. We just had the first 600-point event at WSF Grand Nationals. Also a couple 500-point ones like Spirit Celebration Christmas Grand Nationals and Champion Cheer and Dance Grand Nationals. So we're already rocking and rolling.
We are full speed ahead. So remind us of some of these teams that did really well in some of these regions last season.
Yeah, so as we get going again, here's some to keep an eye on. You could go right now to Varsity TV and see last season's leaderboard. If we look at the West, Rival Athletics was a big-time contender that took over out West. And in the D2 divisions, West Coast Fame, they were both very impressive. Out to the Southwest, Woodlands Elite was the powerhouse for D1, taking over nearly every division that they were in. Also, Thunder Elite for D2. If we look at the Midwest, it's Gym Time Illinois and Off Main All-Stars for D2. The Northeast was all about A-list athletics taking over some of those top spots. D2 was a little bit of a toss-up, which is fun to see, kind of a different team in some of those different divisions. And in the Southeast, we had the Stingray All-Stars and Georgia All-Stars. So again, that's for last season, but part of the fun is it's a new slate, so those are some to keep an eye on. We'll see how they do, but we also don't know who might jump in this year.
Yes, exactly. Keep an eye on those teams for sure, and they're putting themselves in a good position, teams that are already competing, because of course, you know, as teams compete, the more points they acquire, the more opportunities they have to really rack up those points for the League by Varsity All-Star. The leaderboard is not dropping, though, until after the new year, 2025, but we still have plenty of things to talk about, plenty of hype, all the things right here on Thursdays on Varsity TV, talking all things the League by Varsity All-Star.
A lot of teams just took the stage for the very first time this past weekend, which has been so exciting for us to see these new routines and new skills. One of them at Spirit Celebration Christmas Grand Nationals was Woodlands Elite. And joining us today, Kevin Toner from Woodlands Elite, also coaching the Woodlands Elite Generals. So fun to watch them this weekend. Kevin, how's everything going? Thanks for joining us.
It's going great. You know, we had our first event this weekend and we brought a lot of teams there. We had a lot of great performances, some that we want to get back and make better, and very excited. It was great to get the weekend started.
Thinking specifically about Generals right here, I actually got to come visit you guys this summer. I was so impressed by some of the skills Generals was already throwing then. But if you just think about that growth, how have you seen them grow from the summer till taking the stage for the very first time?
Yeah, the growth has been huge. We have a lot of new kids on Generals this year, first-year Generals, and a lot of very great talent that we've had to groom through the year and get them ready for an event like Spirit Celebration. Spirit Celebration is a great first event, but it's also a very huge event with a lot of paid world bids and a lot of really great teams that are there to showcase the first weekend. So getting ready for this weekend and those skills that you saw this summer, just trying to perfect those and get them ready for the weekend was a great challenge.
Awesome. And reflecting back on the weekend, what stood out to you about Generals' two performances?
You know, we noticed that their performance, their showmanship, a lot of individual skills were really, really, really good. We need to get together in some of the group skills and just get a little bit more performances under our belt. We're excited to compete again, obviously, this next week. But the kids are coming together. They had a great practice last night. We're ready to make up for some of those skills that we missed this weekend and keep pushing forward.
Well, you just mentioned it there. It's early on in December, and Woodlands Elite is already going big with two pretty significant back-to-back weekends, now heading to Encore Grand Nationals. Why is that so important to have those two big weekends so early on, right now?
So with a team like Generals, of course, and the rest of our program, starting off at Spirit Celebration is a big challenge, but also going back-to-back is good for us going into Encore. Because anything that we need to adjust, anything that we did great, anything that we didn't do as well as we had planned, we get to work on that throughout the week. The girls know that we have a huge week in front of us and something that we need to prepare for and get better at any small position or part of that routine that we can. So going into a back-to-back event of such stature is really great for us because we get to train very hard and we get to get prepared before that Christmas break. Everyone knows these 2 weeks are huge for us before we go into the new year.
Awesome. And lastly, just a fun one for you. What are you most looking forward to this season?
This season for me with Generals specific, it's a great team. It's a new large group of girls that are super excited to be on Generals and the Generals of the past that they get to represent. So we're very excited to go in this season, go on this journey, and see where this competition season takes us. We have great talent on this team, and we look to really push it forward and show everyone what we're capable of.
Awesome. Well, that is Kevin Toner from Woodlands Elite, coach of the Generals. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us, and good luck this weekend.
Hey, thanks for having me. We'll see you soon.
Awesome. And like we just said there, Woodlands Elite Generals, that program is heading to Encore Grand Nationals this weekend. That's worth 600 points to the league by Varsity All Star.
The Woodlands Elite Generals competed for the very first time this past weekend at Spirit Celebration. They got first place. They've already picked up some points, but Amber, what does first place at Spirit Grand get you for the league by Varsity All Star?
Yeah, so that just got them 500 points. And also keep in mind with Generals, they are no strangers to finding success. Last season in the League 6 All-Girl, they finished in 5th place, got a little bit of that cash prize. But we just heard from Kevin Toner there, coach of the Generals. Fun fact for you, he's actually been at Woodlands Elite since the very start, which is very special. Obviously has a deep passion for coaching, but now he's also sharing that passion with his family. Let's go take a look.
I've been cheering at Woodlands Elite for 15 years.
This is my 23rd season, so I've been here since the beginning, since the first tryouts.
It's always been like, I want to be with my dad and I want to be coached by him. And I like that he's hard on me, and I just don't want people to think that like I'm anywhere because of him. And that's the same for like other kids in this team. It's like you got to prove yourself. So that can be challenging, but like it's all worth it in the end. So yeah.
It's really great. We've got pictures of when she was tiny and just holding up a little picture where she tried to write, "I want to go to Worlds." And she'd have a little Mickey Mouse and she'd have her little outfit on. And that was great. All the way up to the first day we surprised her that she made the team. She's been a great team leader from day one. She wasn't someone that felt like she needed to be on the team for 5 years to speak up. Everyone respects what she has to offer to the team.
I've been watching Generals since I've been like little, and I've always wanted to be on Generals or just on a World team at Woodlands Elite, and watching them like do everything that they've accomplished and Worlds and NCAA titles, major titles. It's crazy, and like to think, oh wow, like I'm finally putting on that uniform, I'm finally showing up here, and I'm like those little kids start looking up to you and they're like, whoa, like she's on Generals. I think it's awesome.
It's super special for me because I never forced her to be in the gym. I never said, hey, you got to be a general one day. You better get in every single tumbling class, every single private lesson. You better be the best main baser, dancer, or performer. She did it on her own. She came into the gym when she needed to be in the gym. She asked me when she wanted lessons. She found her coach that she liked. She knew where her strengths were, and she worked on them every single day in the gym. She's one of the best performers in the gym. So the best thing for me is that it wasn't forced. It wasn't overcoached. It genuinely happened. She's on the team because she deserves it, not because she has the same last name as me or because we've been at this gym. She did everything herself to get to that position. That's what, for me, is so great about it.
Awesome to hear from Kevin and Lexi Toner there. We wish them the best of luck this season. And the Generals, they're jumping right back into action this weekend as they take the stage at the Encore Grand Nationals. Potential to earn another 600 points towards the League by Varsity All Star.
All right, next up we have a special guest and a very good friend of ours. Each week we're going to have a guest, a well-known figure in the cheerleading community. And this week, for week 1 of the weekly series, we have Alex, owner of Cheer Theory. Alex, I'm so happy that you're joining us this week. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too. Thanks for having me, Millery.
Okay, so you're our stats guy. You know, you pull all the stats from previous seasons, from this season, you know, how teams are performing, their hit zero percentage, all the things. So going into this season, tell us how you're feeling.
So one thing Cheer Theory tracked really closely last season was the hit percentage at all World's Bid events, and it was really interesting to see how it changed throughout the season. So last season, there was a wide range of hit percentages. We had everywhere from 9% to 46%, and the average for the 35 events at the end of the year ended up being about 27%. So typically what we saw is that the hit percentage increased throughout the season, but that wasn't always the case. So looking at the current season, we'll be making a lot of comparisons across events, divisions, teams. And overall, I expect it to be about the same, with December weekend averages somewhere in the low 20% range and increasing as we go to the new year. So as you know, we had our first World's Bid events of the season last weekend, and we saw an 18% hit percentage at WSF and a 24% hit percentage at Champion Cheer. And that's about to be expected. It was the first time many of these teams competed. It was the first time they were in front of a crowd, in front of their fans. So it's about, you know, what we can expect for these next couple of weeks.
Okay, so what you're saying is, you know, although these percentages might appear to be a little low right now, moving on throughout the season, we're going to see that percentage climb week after week with the more, you know, comfortable these athletes get on the stage, the more people they're in front of, the more performance opportunities that they have. We're going to kind of see that number climb throughout the season.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think is going to happen. So I think last season we saw that, and I think not much has changed from season to season performance-wise. So I think that's a safe thing to say.
Awesome. I can't wait to see it. So regardless of hit percentage, who were some of your favorite performances from this past weekend?
Yeah, so if you follow Cheer Theory online, you know that hitting zero is not the only indicator that we look at for a great performance.
Yes,
so we saw some pretty incredible cheerleading. So especially for it to be the first weekend of the season. And that first weekend of December is always one of my favorites because you don't know exactly what to expect.
Yep.
You always hope that the fan favorites will come out swinging, have perfect routines, but it's also fun to discover who the dark horses and those new unexpected teams will be. And I think we got examples of both of that at WSF this past weekend. So, one team that was a huge standout was Rain Athletics Aqua. They were the first team to compete in the World's divisions both days. And they're the defending world champions. They have a huge expectation to live up to, and they really did so this past weekend with 2 back-to-back zero deduction routines. And I don't know if you've watched their routine yet, but I really love it. Their stunting skills paired with the visual elements and their seamless transitions make for a really solid 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So I think it's safe to say that the Hit Queens are back. And then a team who came out and surprised us this weekend, who emerged as that dark horse, I think, is Cheerville Nemesis. They came out with 2 clean technical routines that really showcased their talent, and their score reflects that. They ended up with the highest World's Division score at WSF among some stiff competition, and it earned them a paid bid to Worlds on their first go, and I think that is pretty incredible.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much. I personally cannot wait to watch Rain Athletics Aqua. It's always a fan favorite of mine, like you said, like they are to hundreds of people in the cheer industry. But thank you so much, Alex, for joining us. It's always so fun catching up with you, and hopefully we can catch up again in the future.
Alex had some really great points there, especially the fact that we are seeing some clean, great cheerleading so early on in December. And it's pretty incredible, especially for me, to think about how prepared these teams are so early on. That just leaves so much room for them to continue to level up and improve at every step of the way. So we're going to take a look at some of these stats here, some things we're going to be keeping an eye on all season. One thing being our Hit Zero meter. So let's take a look here. These are some of my honorable shout outs. I know Alex just mentioned some of them too, but specifically with League 6 teams who hit zero both days of competitions this past weekend. Of course, at WSF, Rain Athletics Aqua in the limited small senior 6 division, Ice Golden Girls in the level 6 senior extra small division, hitting zero both days. Over to Champion Cheer, we had South Jersey Storm Celsius hitting zero both days. They looked incredible. And Rain Athletics Royalty, they were in the level 6 limited extra small division. Also at WSF, not an exact clean hit zero both days, but Cheerville Nemesis. They had a small mistake, a 0.25 deduction, but they came back with a 0 day 2 performance, took grand champs, and got that full paid bid. So this is what we're going to be tracking. Sometimes it might not always be that clean zero, but we're going to see what they're doing all season long here. Okay, everyone, this season we're adding something new, fun, and exciting to the mix, and we are calling on all of you. We're relying on you to join us and be a part of the fun. We have the League Weekly Series Question of the Week, and like I said, this is all about the fans. So, Millery, what do we have for them this week?
We've got a QR code for you right here. Scan it, go to Varsity TV, answer the question of the week. We will reveal that question on next week's show and then tell you the next question that we have for you.
This is going to be so awesome. So let's jump right into it this week. What do we have? What is the first question we're starting off with here?
All right, this week's question of the week is, what level 6 Worlds team do you predict will have the highest score this upcoming weekend at Battle Under the Big Top in Atlanta, Georgia?
All right, there you go. Scan the QR code right now. Head to Varsity TV. There's so many options there for you to choose from. But Millery, we're going to answer this too. So start brainstorming right now.
Oh, you put me on
I'm actually going to Battle Under the Big Top, so I'm so excited for this too. But I'm going to say Cheer Extreme SSX, reigning world champions in this division. So fun to watch last season. They had a great showing at their showcase, but I'm so excited to see them this weekend. So SSX, I'm going with y'all.
Yes.
Who do you got?
I think I'm going to have to say the Stingray All Stars Electric. They are always electric, always. So I think they're going to do really well. You know, we haven't seen too much from them this season, but they never cease to give us a good show. So Electric, I'm pulling for you.
Well, I am so excited. I kind of just mentioned it there. I am pumped to be hitting the road, traveling to my first event of the season, Battle Under the Big Top in Atlanta, Georgia. There's going to be some awesome teams there, and Varsity TV will have you covered for all the action. But Millery, that's not all. Quite a few events.
We've got other events
this weekend.
Yes, other events going on this weekend. We've got Encore Grand Nationals, Nation's Choice Grand Nationals, America's Best Grand Nationals. So many more events going on. It's going to be amazing. The full list is on varsitytv.com, and just click on the schedules tab. It'll all be there. So much to watch this weekend and so much to talk about coming up.
For sure. And if you can't be there at some of the events, Varsity TV is always your front row seat to all the action. Thank you so much for joining us. We're checking it off.
Checking it off. Week 1
of the League Weekly Series coming back. Be sure to join us here next week, and we'll recap everything that went down this weekend.